This is part 4 of the chapter 9 lectures. Um, Sorry, here we go. We left off discussing the respiratory system. We looked at a illustration of the respiratory system. So now we're going to just talk about the processes that occur in the respiratory system and the some of the functions of the respiratory system that you might not know about. So one of the processes of respiration is just breathing, and that is inhaling and exhaling. And the biology word or anatomy word for breathing is ventilation. So when we say ventilation, we just literally mean inhale, bringing air into our lungs, and exhale, blowing air out of our lungs. Then another process of respiration is external respiration, which actually does not happen outside of our body. It happens inside of our body. It is the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide between inhaled air in the air sacs of our lungs and the blood or the capillaries that surround those air sacs. I think I have enough room to draw. So let's say this is an air sac, also known as an alveolus. And since that is located in our lungs, it's going to have a high concentration of oxygen. And then this structure is going to be a blood capillary, which of course contains blood. That blood is going to have a high concentration of carbon dioxide because it has removed carbon dioxide from the tissue cells. So let me change colors. I'll just do blue. Okay, so the oxygen that's in the alveoli is going to diffuse into the capillary, and then the carbon dioxide in the capillary is going to diffuse into the alveoli where we will breathe it out. Now, the next process is internal respiration, which is very similar, except this time we're going to have a tissue cell. I'll just draw that here. We'll make a nucleus just so you can see that it's a cell. This can be a tissue cell located anywhere within your body. It can be a bone cell, a muscle cell, um, a cell of your connective tissue. It can be located anywhere in your body. So this is a tissue cell, which is surrounded in contact with another capillary. Now, what the tissue needs is oxygen, and what it needs to get rid of is carbon dioxide. So again, now the capillaries which have come from the lungs are going to have a high concentration of carbon dioxide. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. Of oxygen. The oxygen came from the lungs over here. And that oxygen is going to diffuse into the tissue cell. And then the tissue cell is going to use it for cellular respiration. The tissue cell is also, during cellular respiration, is going to build up levels of carbon dioxide, which are toxic. So it's going to, the carbon dioxide is going to diffuse into the capillary. The capillary is going to take the carbon dioxide to the lungs, and then we're going to breathe that carbon dioxide out. So it won't build up and cause our bodies to become toxic. So that's internal respiration. And then the other respiration you know about from Bio 111, and that is cellular respiration, and that occurs inside the cells. And that, of course, is when your cells take glucose and break it down along with oxygen to produce carbon dioxide and water, and the most important is ATP. That's the equation for cellular respiration, and it occurs in the mitochondria of our cells. Now, something else the respiratory system can do is help regulate blood pH. If your blood pH is too low, what your respiratory system can do is adjust the amount of carbon dioxide that remains inside of your body. Okay? Now, the more carbon dioxide in your blood, the lower the pH is going to be. So, if you have a low pH already, then that corresponds to a high level of carbon dioxide. Now, how do we get as much carbon dioxide out as possible? We hyperventilate. And the opposite, when our blood pH is too high, that means we have too low of an amount of carbon dioxide. That one's a little more strange to think about. How could that happen? But it can happen in certain conditions, vomiting and that kind of thing. So your blood pH is too high. Sorry, I didn't write pH. So what you're going to do then is breathe a lot more slower and more shallow. And that's going to hold carbon dioxide in, and that's called hypoventilate. So that's one way that your respiratory system can regulate your blood pH. Your respiratory system can also defend against microbes. In your respiratory tract, you have mucus that traps those microbes and cilia that sweeps all that mucus and microbes up out of your respiratory tract so that it doesn't cause lung infections. And the respiratory system also functions in controlling body temperature, because when we breathe out, we lose water vapor, and that helps to cool our bodies off. All right, now the immune system is composed of two separate parts. It's composed of the innate immune system. That part of your immune system is non-specific. That means it is going to respond to anything foreign. It's going to respond to anything that it views as not part of your body. So there are cells that are active in the cell-mediated component of your innate immune system. These would be cells like macrophages and neutrophils and basophils. These are white blood cells. And then the humoral component is the body fluid component. So there will be chemicals in your body fluids that will help to get rid of foreign substances, whether they are bacteria or viruses or toxins. So humoral means within the body fluid, and cell-mediated means that it targets cells directly. There's no memory involved in the innate immune system. It just simply, if it sees something foreign, it attacks it. The adaptive immune system is the one that where we are, like getting vaccinated against a certain disease. This is specific. It is pathogen and antigen specific. That means this part of your immune system is going to attack a very specific protein or antigen located on the virus or the bacterium or the toxin, whatever it is that you're infected with. Okay, there is a lag time because your adaptive immunity has to have time to build up and get stronger. There's a cell-mediated component of the adaptive immune system. That would be, for example, when your immune system attacks a cell that's infected with a virus. And then there's a humoral response. That would be when your immune system attacks the virus when it's still in your blood and it's not entered into your cells yet. So cell-mediated means the immune system attacks cells directly, and humoral means that the immune system responds to antigens in the body fluid. The adaptive immune system has a memory. That is why vaccines work. The only animals that have, excuse me, the only animals that have an adaptive immune system are jawed vertebrates. That means they have a backbone and a jaw. Now, what I did here, because there are some questions that go into more detail, this is the link to a YouTube video. It's about 13 minutes long. Make sure you pay attention to MHC class 2 cells. This goes into detail about the immune system, specifically the B lymphocytes and the T lymphocytes and how they work, the macrophages and how they work. It is a really good video tutorial on the immune system. It helps make a lot of sense of how your immune system responds to different things. So make sure you watch, make sure you pay attention to MHC class 2 cells. If you can't click on this and watch it, then copy and paste it into your URL bar. Now, the digestive system begins with the mouth and ends with the anus. That we call that tube from the mouth to the anus, we call that the GI tract or gastrointestinal tract. So the mouth, you're going to eat something, it's going to go into your mouth, you're going to chew it up, you're going to swallow it, it's going to go into your pharynx first and then into your esophagus. And then you can kind of see the esophagus runs behind the liver to the stomach. And the food is going to be mechanically and chemically digested in the stomach to a certain extent. And then it's going to enter into, you can't see it, but it enters into the small intestines. And then in the small intestines, the food will be processed even further and absorbed into your bloodstream. The nutrients that are formed from the food you just ate will be absorbed into your bloodstream. Solid waste will collect in the large intestine, and it will travel into your rectum and then out of your anus. There are some accessory organs of the digestive system. Our salivary glands, we have three sets of salivary glands. The parotid salivary gland is the one that's kind of at the back of the throat. The sublingual is under the tongue, and the submandibular is under the jawbone. Okay, and then we have the liver, which produces bile and also helps to break down some of the components of digestion, but it produces bile that helps in emulsifying fats or breaking fats down. The gallbladder stores the bile that's produced by the liver. The appendix, that's what I was looking for. The appendix helps to regulate, actually helps to restore gut bacteria whenever we lose it. So it helps to replenish our gut bacteria. Now we're going to talk about, in the next section, we're going to talk about types of muscle and the muscular system. But real quickly, we have smooth muscle, which is involuntary. That means we don't have voluntary control of it. It is found lining organs like your esophagus, your stomach, your intestines, anything that carries solid or liquid or air through it. So it can be blood vessels, it can be your respiratory tract. All of those are lined with smooth muscle. Smooth muscle has no striations and a single nucleus.